All right, welcome everyone to another deep dive. Today we're tackling what everyone seems to be talking about these days,
Yeah,
AI.
yeah, AI is everywhere.
And we're going to be using Asha Saxena's manuscript, The AI Factor, as our guide for this one.
That's right. A great read. Really insightful.
Really dives into, how AI is impacting business, but, and I think this is really important, how it's going beyond that too.
Absolutely.
So our mission today is to get past all the hype you hear about AI and really look at, the real practical uses. And we're going to, of course, ground all of this in Asha Saxena's work.
And the real world example she brings to the table.
Exactly.
Mm.
Asha's manuscript covers a ton from like the basics of AI, the fundamentals.
It's building blocks.
Yeah. And of course, big data,
Yeah, forget that.
the cloud, all of these are like
The
interconnected.
quiz pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah. And she also looks at strategy, how to
Mm.
actually implement AI, ethical considerations. It's a really rich text, but, we know you're busy, so we're going to break it all down for you today.
Distill it down. No need to wade through hundreds of pages.
Exactly. That's our job. Give you all the key insights, those memorable details that stick with you. So,
Stuff that matters.
yeah. So, let's start with the fundamentals. What exactly are we talking about when we say AI?
Well, Asa Saxena puts it really well. It's essentially computing functions that are trying to, copy human intelligence.
Okay.
Like how we analyze information, spot patterns, make decisions.
Right.
But the advantage with AI is that it can process massive amounts of data,
Much more than we can.
way more, and it never gets tired, doesn't make those little human errors we all do.
Okay, so it's almost like having a super-powered assistant that never gets tired, never misses a detail.
Exactly. And a key part of this is what we call big data.
Right. We hear that term all the time.
Yeah.
But what does it really mean?
It's not just about having lots of data. It's the 3 V's, right? The sheer volume of data, the velocity, meaning how fast it comes in, and the variety.
I see.
And that variety is key because now we're dealing with all this unstructured data,
Let's try it.
things like conversations, images, videos, not your traditional neatly organized data.
So it's all the messy human stuff too.
Exactly. And AI can make sense of that, find patterns we might miss.
Fascinating. So we've got the AI, we've got the big data. What about those other interconnected technologies?
Oh, right. Well, the cloud is huge, literally.
Yeah.
It provides all that computing power you need to process and analyze this massive influx of data. No way we could do this without the cloud.
Okay, so it's like the engine that makes all this possible.
Exactly. And then you have smart devices, your phone, smartwatches, all that.
Sure.
They're not just consumers of AI, they're also generating data. They're both sources and endpoints.
So it's like this whole ecosystem working together.
Yeah, a virtuous cycle.
Okay, so Asha Saxena argues that this whole AI factor, all these interconnected pieces, are critical for business growth.
She does, and for good reason.
Yeah, why is that?
Businesses used to see AI as maybe a nice to have, a cool little gadget.
Yeah.
But Asha's argument is that it's now essential. If you want to grow, if you want to multiply your success, you need to be using AI and big data.
Okay, so it's not just about keeping up with the Joneses. It's about actual survival now.
In a way, yeah. But, this isn't some magical solution.
Right.
Saxon emphasizes that you need to be responsible. That's where sustainable growth comes in, for businesses, for the planet, for everyone.
Makes sense. So how do we make sure AI is being used responsibly?
Well, Asha identifies 4 key areas where businesses often stumble. She calls them missing links.
Okay, so like the weak points in the chain?
Yeah, something like that. So the first one is linking AI to real, tangible outcomes. It can't just be some cool technology project.
Right.
It has to actually deliver. Cost savings, new revenue streams, things you can measure.
So measurable results.
Absolutely. The second one is building trust. People need to understand how AI works. They need to feel confident that it's being used fairly and that their privacy is protected.
Makes sense. Transparency is key.
Huge. Then you have observability. Can you actually see what's happening at every stage of your AI process? Do you have that visibility?
Okay, so it's like having checks and balances.
Yeah, and oversight.
Yeah.
And finally, your AI strategy can't just be some separate thing. It has to be tightly integrated with your overall business goals.
It's all got to be connected.
Absolutely. And when you address these 4 missing links, you're putting people at the center of AI.
Okay, so it's not just about the tech, it's about how it serves us.
Exactly.
Now, Asha provides some great examples of companies doing this well. Let's talk about Netflix. They've completely transformed the way we consume entertainment.
Yeah, they went from mailing DVDs to streaming giants and content creators.
Amazing. What was their secret sauce?
Data. From the beginning, they were data-driven. Remember Cinematch?
Vaguely. Remind me.
They used customer ratings, rental history, all that data to predict what movies you'd like.
Oh, yeah. I remember those recommendations.
And it wasn't just about convenience. They were building this incredible understanding of their customers' tastes.
I see.
And then they went further. They had the Netflix Prize, this competition, to improve their algorithm even more.
They gamified it.
They did.
Yeah.
And it worked. But the real genius was realizing that anyone could copy their delivery model, their no late fee thing.
Right.
But what they couldn't copy was that deep knowledge of customer preferences.
So they took all that data
Yeah,
and used it to start creating their own content.
precisely. And they even used AI to analyze, like, the thumbnails you see for shows, to optimize how things were presented.
Wow. So they built their entire business around data.
It's a core asset for them. Saxena lays out their roadmap really clearly. They knew what they wanted to achieve.
Like disrupt the entire industry.
Right. They prioritized being data ready, focused on projects that had both predictive power and business value,
And use that to open up entirely new opportunities.
like original content
Ah.
and challenging the traditional movie theater experience.
Amazing. Now, what about Starbucks? They're a coffee company.
Yeah.
How do they fit into this AI picture?
It's actually really interesting. They started with a simple mobile app for payments,
Makes sense.
but they smartly integrated their rewards program.
Right.
And suddenly they had this huge data source on customer purchases and habits.
Okay.
And they use AI for everything. Personalized promotions, like when you get that coupon for your favorite drink.
Yeah.
And they even have a virtual barista. You can order with your voice.
No way.
Yeah. And AI helps them predict when equipment might need maintenance. Super smart.
So it's about using AI to understand and anticipate customer needs.
Exactly. And it's another example of how this combination of AI, big data, the cloud, it all leads to incredible results.
So for the listeners who might be feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this, like where do they even begin?
Yeah, good point. Well, Saxena provides a 3-step process for leveraging data.
Okay, break it down for us.
Step 1, and this is crucial, is to understand the problem you're trying to solve. Ask the questions first, then find the data to answer them.
Okay, so don't just dive into the data blindly.
Right. So are you trying to optimize your delivery routes, figure out why customers are abandoning online carts, or maybe identify new growth opportunities? You need a specific question to guide you.
So it's about having a clear objective.
Exactly. Step 2 is figuring out what data you need. You'll need historical data like past sales figures, customer feedback, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so understanding the past.
Right. But also predictive data to try and forecast future customer behavior.
Makes sense.
And the key is to link this data directly to the actions you need to take to achieve your goals.
So it's all connected.
It is. And step 3 is getting that actionable data. So in Saxena's example, you could use something called sentiment analysis on customer service calls.
What's that?
It's basically analyzing the emotions in those calls to understand why customers might be unhappy, and then you can address those problems. And she points out that this is how companies like Netflix and Starbucks succeeded. They asked the right questions and pursued those data-driven answers.
Makes sense. So problem first, then figure out the data, then gather the right data.
You got it.
Now, Asha also mentions different types of analytics. What are those all about?
There are 4 main types. Descriptive analytics is the most basic. It tells you what happened in the past.
Okay, so like a report on past performance.
Yeah, exactly. Then you have diagnostic analytics. This tries to figure out why something happened.
So it's digging a little deeper,
Right. Predictive analytics tries to forecast what might happen in the future.
using past data to predict the future.
Exactly. And the most advanced type is prescriptive analytics. It suggests actions you should take based on those predictions.
So it's not just telling you what might happen, but also giving you recommendations.
Precisely. And AI can really boost all of these, but even without AI, these principles can be really useful.
Okay, so it's like a toolkit for understanding and working with data.
It is. And as you move from descriptive to prescriptive, you go from simply observing to actually shaping the future.
I like that, from observation to action. Now let's talk about those physical technologies like robots and all those smart devices. Where do they fit into this?
Saxena defines robots as machines that learn from data and take actions in the real world.
So like self-driving cars and warehouse robots.
Exactly. And smart devices like your phone, your watch, they're all part of the Internet of Things.
IoT, right.
Yeah, they gather data, they process it, they use things like GPS and all those sensors to help us out.
Okay, so it's not just about AI in the cloud, it's also about AI in the physical world.
Absolutely. And it's this constant feedback loop. Devices generate data, AI gets smarter, devices get smarter, generate even more data.
So the cycle continues.
Yeah, like with Medtronic, the medical device company, they're using robotics for remote surgery.
Wow, really?
Yeah, really cool stuff. AI and physical devices working together.
And all of this requires massive computing power, right?
Mm.
That's where the cloud comes in.
You got it. The cloud is like the backbone of all this.
Yes.
It provides processing power, storage, all those analytical tools. Without it, we couldn't handle all this data.
So it's like the utility that makes everything else possible.
Precisely. And it's accessible, You don't need to build your own massive data center.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, Asha makes this interesting point about data being a renewable resource.
She does. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
So how is data renewable?
Think about it. Every time you buy something, every time you click on a website, you're generating data.
Right.
And it's constant. Structured data like sales records and unstructured data like your social media posts.
Right.
And this data can be wasted if we don't use it, but if we collect it, analyze it, we can learn so much.
So it's like a constant stream of potential knowledge.
It is, and those who can harness that knowledge, they're the ones who will thrive.
So how do companies actually become those multipliers, the ones who experience that exponential growth?
Asha outlines different strategies, from optimizing what you already have to becoming a true innovator.
And the multiplier is the ultimate goal.
It's more like the result of using data effectively. Any company, big or small, can start this journey.
So it's not just for tech giants?
Nope. Look at Domino's. They completely rebranded themselves based on social media data.
Oh yeah, they really turn things around.
And L'Oreal, the beauty company, they use AI for everything, from understanding consumer preferences to creating that smart hairbrush.
A smart hairbrush.
Yeah, it collects data on your hair and then gives you personalized recommendations.
Wow. So the possibilities are endless.
They really are. Any industry can leverage this.
Now let's dive into some specific applications. What about human resources? How's AI impacting that field?
Huge impact. AI can analyze resumes, filter out bias, match candidates to jobs.
So it's streamlining the hiring process.
Big time. Reducing costs, improving employee retention. It's a win-win.
What about marketing?
Oh, marketing is being revolutionized. Digital agencies are using AI to analyze all that online activity, clicks, likes, shares.
Right.
And then they can create super targeted campaigns, personalized content, the right message at the right time.
So it's about understanding the individual customer.
Exactly. And it's leading to huge increases in revenue for their clients.
Makes sense. Now, healthcare seems like a perfect fit for AI. What's happening there?
Huge potential in healthcare. AI can help doctors diagnose diseases more accurately, like in radiology. It can provide support for patients with conditions like Alzheimer's.
Wow.
It can detect skin cancer early, even help reduce hospital readmissions. We talked about Medtronic earlier, but another cool example is Hackensack Medical Center.
What are they doing?
They have this AI-powered surgical training program. It tracks performance and helps surgeons improve their skills.
So it's not just about diagnosing, it's about improving the entire process.
Exactly. AI can touch every aspect of healthcare.
Now, Asha tells this cautionary tale about Kodak, the photography company. What happened there?
It's a classic example of a company that didn't adapt. They invented the digital camera.
Really?
Yeah, but they were so focused on their film business, they missed the boat.
They didn't see the digital revolution coming.
They didn't. And they even had an online photo service early on, but they didn't capitalize on it. They didn't understand the power of user-generated content.
Like social media.
Exactly. And Saxena contrasts them with Netflix. Netflix saw where things were going and followed the data.
So it's a reminder that even if you have the technology, you need the vision to see its potential.
And the willingness to adapt.
Now let's talk about a smaller company doing this right. Coda Coffee. They're all about ethical sourcing and sustainability.
Love their coffee. And they're using AI to support those values.
How so?
Well, they have this program called Farm to Cup.
Okay.
And they partnered with this company called Bex 360. They use AI to assess the quality of coffee beans.
Like how good the beans are.
Yeah. And it means farmers get paid fairly for high-quality beans. And they use blockchain to track the whole process, so it's super transparent.
Wow, so it's all about combining technology with ethical practices.
Exactly. Profitability and sustainability going hand in hand.
Now, of course, we can't talk about AI without addressing the elephant in the room. Jobs. A lot of people are worried about AI taking their jobs.
It's a valid concern, but Asha's argument is that AI will also create new jobs,
Okay.
and it'll enhance existing jobs, make us more productive, more efficient.
So it's not just about replacing humans, it's about working together.
Exactly. She uses Levi Strauss and Company as an example. They're using AI for all sorts of things, but they're also upskilling their
So
workforce.
adapting to the new reality.
That's it. Now, another cool example is Octothorpe. They were a traditional food wholesaler,
Okay.
but they realized they needed to change. So they started analyzing social media data, looking at hashtag trends.
What?
Yeah, they wanted to see what people were talking about, what they were interested in.
Makes sense.
And they used that to expand their business, even offering direct-to-consumer services. They even use AI for personalized content recommendations. They completely reinvented themselves.
So even established companies can adapt.
Absolutely. It's about having that data-driven mindset.
Now, Asha uses this term multiplier to describe companies experiencing exponential growth. But does that mean only big tech companies can be multipliers?
Not at all. Any company can become a multiplier. It's the result of effectively using data, not the starting point.
So it's a journey.
It is. And it starts with that willingness to leverage AI and big data.
Now, while anyone can start this journey, Asha suggests that a willingness to innovate is key for long-term success.
Absolutely. The companies that truly excel with data, they're the ones who are constantly pushing the boundaries.
So it's not just about adopting AI, it's about embracing a culture of innovation.
Exactly. And AI can even help you acquire new customers, through targeted marketing. But Asha warns against using AI for cord cutting without really understanding the impact.
So don't just blindly cut costs.
Right. You need data to inform those decisions. Otherwise, you risk alienating your employees and your customers.
That makes sense. What about mergers and acquisitions and marketing? How is AI changing those areas?
In M&A, AI can analyze tons of data, both financial and news articles, social media sentiment.
Okay.
It can help you get a much clearer picture of a company's value beyond just the numbers.
So it's taking some of the guesswork out of those big decisions.
Exactly. And in marketing, AI is enabling much more personalized campaigns, understanding individual customer preferences, sending the right message at the right time.
So more targeted, more effective.
Absolutely. It's a game changer.
Now, Asha outlines this data readiness framework. What's the key idea behind that?
It's about connecting your business goals with your data and AI initiatives. It's about moving from what happened to how can we make it happen.
So being proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. And getting buy-in from leadership is crucial. They need to see the connection to business goals, whether it's increased profits, cost savings, ethical considerations.
So it's about aligning everyone around a shared data strategy.
It is. And it's about connecting those financial goals to actual customer behavior data.
Okay, so you need to understand both the business side and the customer side.
Precisely. You need that complete picture.
Now, let's talk about managing all this data. Asha talks about organizational maturity and data management. What's important here?
This is about making sure your data management practices are tied to your overall business strategy.
Makes sense.
Key things to consider are data security, ensuring data quality and trustworthiness, and managing your data consistently across different sources.
So no more data silos.
Right. And AI can actually help with this. Think chatbots for accessing data, dashboards for visualization,
Clear.
and AI can also help detect security threats. But the accuracy of your data is paramount. If your data is bad, your AI will be bad.
Garbage in, garbage out, right?
Exactly. And the concept of master data management becomes crucial, having that single source of truth for your key data.
But AI can help with that too.
It can automate a lot of those MDM tasks. So yeah, it's all connected.
Now, even with great data management, you need people who can understand and interpret all that data. Asha talks about data use and literacy. Why is that so crucial?
Because data is only useful if you can make sense of it, right?
Yeah.
You need people with skills in data science, visualization, even psychology.
Okay.
You have to be able to spot those patterns, communicate the insights effectively. Asha warns against using incomplete data, choosing the wrong metrics for your dashboards, and
Yeah.
ignoring context. Your AI dashboards need to answer specific business questions, measure the right KPIs.
So it's about having the right tools and the right skills.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, data literacy is often pretty low. Companies need to invest in training, but not just the technical stuff.
So not just how to code, but how to actually use data to make decisions.
Exactly. Programs like IBM's Enterprise Design Thinking Workshop can be really helpful here.
So it's about connecting data to real-world business problems.
That's it. It's about empowering everyone in the organization to use data.
And that leads to this idea of data-centric culture. How do you build that?
It starts with grassroots support, overcoming those misconceptions about data.
Yeah, a lot of people see data as this scary technical thing.
Right. Leaders need to champion data, be patient with the process. Asha highlights how HR can use data to improve employee engagement.
So data can even help us be more human.
It can. It's about combining data literacy, a data-driven culture, and that holistic approach to stakeholder value.
It's a whole organizational shift.
It is, but the results are worth it.
Now, what about the actual tools needed to make all this happen? Internal competence and tools.
Yeah, so having the right tools is essential, and open source tools are becoming increasingly popular.
What are those?
They're basically tools that are freely available, anyone can use them, modify them,
Interesting.
and they're lowering the barrier to entry for AI. Companies don't need to spend a fortune on proprietary software.
Makes sense. But where do companies even begin with all this? Asha gives advice on starting small and planning a data strategy.
Yeah, don't try to boil the ocean. Focus on 1 or 2 high-impact projects. Identify what Asha calls the power zone.
Okay.
Use tools like the business model canvas for planning, and start by figuring out your biggest unsolved problem.
And quantify it. Put a number on it.
Exactly. How much is this problem costing you? Then combine your intuition with data exploration to find solutions.
So it's not just about data, it's about using your experience and knowledge too.
Absolutely. And often the answers are hidden in your existing data. You just need to look at it in the right way.
Now, Asha introduces these concepts of DVI and BVI, data value indicator and business value indicator. What's the difference?
DVI is all about the quality and relevance of your data. How much potential does it have to give you insights?
Right.
And BVI focuses on the business impact. Does your data project actually deliver measurable results?
So DVI is about the potential of the data itself, and BVI is about the actual impact.
You got it.
Now, Asha provides a little case study on Octothorpe's AI implementation. What did they do?
They partnered with an agency and used open source tools to really understand their customers.
Okay.
They used NLP, natural language processing, to generate marketing content.
NLP.
It's basically AI that can understand and generate human language.
Cool.
And they used A/B testing to optimize their campaigns. They were super data-driven, and it paid off.
So it's about using the right tools
Mm-hmm.
and constantly testing and refining.
Exactly. It's a continuous process.
Now, when measuring the results of your AI projects, Asha warns about the dangers of bias. How do you avoid that?
You need robust measurement methods, but you also need to be aware of your own biases.
Like seeing patterns where there are none.
Yeah, or only looking for data that confirms what you already believe. Having multiple data scientists analyze the data independently can help.
So getting different perspectives.
Exactly, and building diverse teams. But the key is to let the data guide you, not the other way around.
Let the data speak for itself.
Precisely. Now, when setting your measurement criteria, remember that accuracy isn't always everything. In some cases, transparency and scalability might be more important.
So it depends on the context.
It does. Don't fall into the accuracy fallacy,
What's that?
thinking that accuracy is the only thing that matters. Sometimes other factors are more crucial.
So how do you scale these AI initiatives across a larger organization?
Some companies are creating AI labs, dedicated spaces for innovation. Others are building internal data marketplaces.
Interesting.
But you need a clear structure, governance, and multidisciplinary teams. And Asha suggests focusing on that one killer use case.
The one that really demonstrates the value of AI.
Exactly. And she has this radical idea about moving away from proof of concept projects.
What does she mean?
Well, often these POCs are done in isolation. They don't consider the real-world challenges of implementation.
Like production, risks, bias.
All of that. And this can lead to what she calls technical debt. You end up with a solution that's not scalable, not sustainable.
So you need to think about the big picture from the start.
Absolutely. Plan for the long term.
Finally, Asha touches on the evolution of the web and this whole centralization versus decentralization debate. How does that tie into AI?
The internet started with siloed data, Web 1.0. Now we've moved towards centralization, with the cloud being a big driver of AI.
Right.
But this has led to concerns about monopolies, data privacy, all that.
Yeah, the power of big tech.
Exactly. And now we have Web3 emerging with blockchain, NFTs. It's all about decentralization, giving users more control over their data.
So a more distributed internet.
Right. And AI will play a huge role in this transition.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the underlying infrastructure of the internet.
Absolutely. And this decentralization could lead to more ethical, more equitable AI solutions.
So to wrap things up, we've really gone deep on this AI factor, explored the key concepts, the business implications, the ethical considerations.
We've seen how companies like Netflix and Starbucks have used AI to achieve incredible success. We've talked about practical steps to get started, the importance of data readiness, and the need for a data-centric culture.
So for you, our listener, we hope this deep dive has demystified AI, given you a framework for understanding its power and its potential.
Maybe you're already thinking about how you could apply these ideas in your own work, in your own field.
Perhaps there's one area where you could start to be more data-driven.
We encourage you to keep exploring these topics, dive deeper into the areas that resonate most with you.
Whether it's data readiness, ethical AI, or those inspiring company stories.
There's a whole world of knowledge out there.
So thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you then.